Character design is a visual aspect of a certain character that depicts what they look like physically. It's pretty important since it can determine or communicate to the viewer what their personality might be, or what they're all about. It's handy, it's great, but it can be hard to make a captivating character design. So here I am, an amateur, just a guy with a drawing tablet, here to readily give you my personal tips because a lot of you asked for it. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a professional, so think more of this as a beginner's guide. To me, this is just something fun that I like to do, and I guess sharing tips to help others is something that I enjoy seeing from others, so here's my own tips. Okay, so personally, when I start making a character, the first thing I do is ask myself these 5 questions, and with these 5 questions, we will be making a character from them. First one is, what is the concept? Concept takes into account what the world will be like and what the setting is. It can be vague, it can be detailed, it's up to you to decide. But it does need to be clear so that the character can also fit in with the theme of the concept. Tell me, you wouldn't make a fucking sexy dancer in a kid's game. Huh. What do you know? Just kidding, but let's say if the idea is detailed, like it's a setting in a planet full of flower head people with plants as their culture and stuff, you wouldn't add a human clown to the mix because it just doesn't fit unless if that is the point. For more vague ideas, like a world full of champions with different unique skills, you shouldn't focus on the little aspects such as what specifics the skills should have. Just focus on the general rule that they all have skills, so of course you wouldn't add a powerless lumberjack as a character. Focus on a general rule if the idea is vague, unless if being different is the point. For example, Cookie Run. It's a game about cookies and running. While the cast is pretty diverse and they have different ways of living and hobbies and such, the characters for the most part are cookies because that's the general rule. Make them frickin' cookies! Another good example would be League of Legends, where even though the player characters are very, very diverse in species and cast, there is still one thing that remains consistent throughout. And that is, each of the player characters are champions. They fight. They do things, I guess. You know, just fighting things, I don't know. You need to make sure that the characters look like they live in the same universe, and it will help you a bunch if you already know what the species in your concept may be already. This doesn't mean you have to make the world building really, really detailed. You just have to make the characters fit in with one another. Because if you make too many characters that look like they live in different universes, unless if that's the point, as I said, these designs are bound to crash against one another. And overall, it may end up looking really, really messy. You know, just overall, make the person that's looking at these designs know that these characters belong to the same universe. Because character design is visual, and you should try to communicate things visually, as it suggests. My next question would be, who is the character? What is their personality? What is their role? And what do they do? That whole mess. Let's take this into consideration. Our character's personality trait is that she's a happy-go-lucky, sweet little baker girl. She loves sweets, so of course we can push that narrative onto the character design so you wouldn't have to explain to the audience that, oh, she's a baker, oh, she's really sweet. Because they'd already know what the character does. An example would be the cookies from Cookie Run, because, come here, those character designers, they really know what they're doing. The cookies are simple but effectively tell you what they're about. Take this one for example, Dr. Wasabi. You can tell that she's an insane scientist just by looking at her. How about this guy? Raspberry Mousse or Mousse Cookie. You can tell that he's a stern musketeer. Now, I hear you. You may be going, but my character has other things other than that role. They may be an asshole, but they also like ass, and they're Filipino, and they say, yawa putangina, every day. Well, think about it. Is it their main role? If it's not, just don't bother about it because it can be communicated in other ways that isn't character design. Just focus on their most important aspects of their personality. Number 3 is, what is the media? Is it 2D animation, 3D animation, a comic, for a game? Whatever it is, you have to know what that media is capable of so that the character can run smoothly and precisely through that media. What I mean by that is how easily the character can be portrayed in said media. Like for 2D animation, you wouldn't want an extremely detailed character. That would be a pain in the ass to animate, especially if you're pushing for a wildly expressive type of animation. There would be so many details you'd have to take into account. I'd rather just pick a simple but effective design. Other than media, you should also take into account what kind of visual style that the media has, since it adds a very big aspect to the way the media will show its characters. Overall, though, you should strive for a simple yet effective design. Now, hopefully at this point you've roughed out a sketch of the character and, just some ideas and stuff. Because the next question is the character captivating to look at? If the character has harmonious colors, that is a very good aspect, but the most important question is there something that sets it apart from other characters? Now, keep this in mind, it doesn't have to be the whole character, because if you do go overboard with it, everything would just look too unique and it'll basically end up looking the same. Again, strive to be simple but effective. The character can just be simple, but it at least needs one thing that can stand out to the crowd, that can tell you that this dude is this character because of this one specific element of their design. Basically, a trademark. You can do this in different ways. You can make it an object such as a big bow, or you can make it the body type of the character like Quasimodo, that voluptuous man. Whatever, just as long as you can tell who that character is in different styles and clothing, then that's it. Again, League of Legends, for example. Let's take a look at the heroes. Each of them have something that can be considered memorable or is a very prominent feature for the character. Aatrox has these weird horn things. I don't know how to say his name, but he has, and if you look at his skins, it's shown quite prominently. The design and shape of his sword is also another feature. Another one would be Jinx. Her hair is a key aspect of her design, and it's shown very, very prominently in each skin of hers. Mobile Legends, take notes. Do you expect me to think that this is the same character? What? A rule in character design can help you do this better. This rule is called shape language. Shape language can help you push features of the design without adding any more details. It communicates to the viewer and it helps the character become a little bit more memorable. Well, no, a lot more memorable. As I said, even though it might be simple, the silhouette may be recognizable enough. That's what makes shape language so great. I'll go link down a video all about shape language, as well as some other better character design tip videos, down in the description below. The last question is all about finalization. First, I go back on all of the previous questions just to double check if I'm okay with them. And then second, I ask myself, am I satisfied with this design? And to the hobbyists out there, the beginners, the whatever, to the people that don't see this as a source of income, don't worry, just keep on trucking and draw what makes you happy, because art is something that should be enjoyable. Don't sulk about how bad your art is, because it will get you nowhere. Instead, know and learn what you should improve on. Get those fucking bad vibes out of here. said your shit. Fuck you. Say fuck you to it. Come on, go now. Anyway, if and when you feel like the design needs more improving, you can try adding features to it that can help communicate the design better, or you can try removing features that doesn't add to the character. You can change the colors, you can even go over those 4 other questions again and again and reapply them to your character. Another tip that I've heard people do is to draw the character 3 times, and each time changing something about the character. If you aren't satisfied with it still, ask yourself if it does portray the character well. Don't be afraid to make your character ugly. Don't be afraid to go out your comfort zone and experiment what's right for you. Because if you don't try to push things, you may never get the results that you want to. Anyway, about the character, you can even ask people what they think the character does, and if they do guess the right thing, well, it's done its job. So, yes, that's all the 5 questions I have. So now, with those 5 questions, we are going to use them and make a sexy little bitch. Okay, let's go. Number 1, what is the concept? The concept is that it's in a city full of brand mascots that are always at each other's throats with different types of weapons, most notably fast food mascots. So, of course, the city is fun and colorful and chaotic. I guess like a harmonic chaos kind of thing, like a playground. I don't know how to describe it. This is actually related to 2 of the characters in my last videos, or if you follow my Instagram, you would already know. Number 2, who is the character? She is a mascot for a tiny but homely family-run burger place. She's peppy and naive. She's also a pretty good fighter and acts as some sort of bodyguard for the family against the other mascots that want to take it down because of its growing popularity. The fighting thing is kind of unrelated to the character design, but I just wanted to mention that. The point is that you're supposed to tell that they're mascots without knowing the fact that they fight each other, because that's just a little side surprise kind of thing. I'm pushing for that because the mascots are supposed to look friendly even though they fight with each other regularly. So let's give her a fast food mascot vibe and lots of cheer. I focused on giving like the conventional sharp edges a softer shape to indicate that she is capable of hurting someone, but she's still a nice person. Some sort of cute, energetic vibe thing. Number 3, what is the media? So for this one, I'm not sure yet, but it's preferably 2D animation or comics, something like that, so we'll go for a somewhat simple design. Number 4, is there something that can catch my eye when looking at these characters? Now when it comes to this rule, you shouldn't focus on the smaller details of the design because some aspects can be communicated through colors, since colors do produce different feelings and moods. Instead of having a character have constant snot and teardrops drop down their face, just make her grayish blue to indicate that she is one sad piece of shit. For this one, I'm giving her a very exaggerated skirt thing that kinda looks like a burger sandwich thing, I don't know. Number 5, am I satisfied with the design? To put it simply, yep, I do like how she turned out. I personally think it serves its purpose well since mascots are supposed to be exaggerated, kid-friendly, silly stuff like her skirt. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that, well, designs can change throughout the time you develop your story, so you shouldn't worry too much about finalization, or else you might get stuck in this part. So, that's all. You made a character with these 5 questions. Now, again, art is something that's supposed to be fun, so please don't stress yourself out if it doesn't come out right for you. Again, these are just beginner tips. They're very basic and it may not work for everyone. There's always more videos about this topic linked down below. Anyway, I'm just a guy with a drawing tablet, and this was me giving you character design tips.